Verse 35 from Surah Al-Ahqaf in the 26th juz speaks to us about a principle that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches His Prophet, and that is for him to always be patient. So when you look in the verses of the Quran, sometimes the Prophet is told to be patient in just a normal sense. Then in other times, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells the Prophet to be more patient than some of the other prophets. And then other times, like this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells him to be patient like those prophets of God who are prophets of determination. They were ulul azm, the top 4 or 5 messengers of God. And He says, be patient the way they were patient. So this is what this verse is saying. فَاصْبِرْ كَمَا صَبَرَ عُلُو الْعَزْمِ مِنَ الرُّسُلِ. Be patient the way our special prophets were patient, meaning you need to increase your patience. But then the Quran speaks of the premise to this teaching and the premise to this commandment. Why should I be patient, O Allah, when in the case of the Prophet, these people are coming, they're creating corruption, they're creating problems, they're doing all of this. The Quran tells the Prophet a principle that applies to you and I when we go through the difficulties of life and the ups and downs of life as well. He says the reason why you should be patient is this: كَأَنَّهُمْ يَوْمَ يَرَوْنَ مَا يُوعَدُونَ كَأَنْ لَمْ يَلْبَثُوا or لَمْ يَلْبَثُوا إِلَّا سَاعَةً مِّن نَهَارٍ. The Quran says the reason why you should constantly be patient is because the life that you're living is so short that these same people who are creating corruption, creating problems, and the enemies of the Prophet were some of the staunchest enemies you will ever hear about. These same people, when we bring them on the day of judgment, all of this life will feel to them as if it was less than a day. Sa'atan min nahar. That means an hour within a day, right? Like a moment within a day or a couple moments within a day. The Quran is saying this is what life will feel like to them. And so if it's not going to feel like that to them, that means for many of us, it will feel the same as well. So the reality is the Quran is saying this life and the ups and downs in this life, you have to always be patient. Why? Because at the end of the day, even if things aren't going the way you planned, the Quran is saying at the end of the day, you'll look at this world and this life and it will feel like a couple hours. And that's difficult for us to understand. But that's because we live within a realm where everything is limited by time. The moment we enter into another realm where things are not limited by time, then all of a sudden you will see that this world does feel very, very short, very, very temporary. So this is a lesson for us. All of us, of course, struggle to be patient when we need to, but this is what the Quran encourages constantly to do. So when we go through difficulties and when we have ups and downs, let us remember that the reality of this life will always feel at the end of the day like maybe half of a day, as the Quran says.